Michael Bisping will be the man to welcome Georges St-Pierre back into the UFC, and the middleweight champion plans to send the legendary welterweight straight into retirement. The British veteran defends his title against the Canadian in the main event of UFC 217 on November 4 in the promotion's second event at New York's iconic Madison Square Garden. St-Pierre, who never lost his 170-pound belt, is returning after a 4-year hiatus in an attempt to win gold at a second weight class, but Bisping is confident he will shatter those aspirations. You see, he's been away for a long time, the 38-year-old told Sportsmail. He's gonna be frozen under those spotlights. I'm not going to give him the time that he needs to adjust. I'm going to put it on him from the opening bell, look to take him out in the first round, but even if he gets through, that I'm looking to stop him for sure. I love this. There's a reason why George retired and walked away from the sport. He doesn't like it, he doesn't enjoy it. I actually enjoy having a good fight. Asked if he sees St-Pierre sticking around after this showdown, the Brit was damning. You know what, not when I'm done with him, he replied. If all goes to plan, then George gets his ass kicked, and I think that will be the end of Georges St-Pierre. But there is no doubt Bisping, who has the most wins in UFC history, with one more than his opponent, is aware of the magnitude of this matchup. It's a big fight. GSP is a big star. Fighting in New York is cool and Madison Square Garden is an iconic venue, he continued. George has had a legendary career. He's actually a good guy. He is a fantastic fighter. He's the most dominant welterweight of all time. He defended the belt 9 times, which is just incredible. And he walked away from the sport at the top as the champion. Not a lot of people can do that. In fact, he's the only person in the UFC to retire as a champion. He's coming back. He's stepping up a weight class. All that stuff is exciting, you know. I've beaten Anderson Silva, I've beaten Dan Henderson, I beat Luke Rockhold. The chance to add him to that list really excited me. However, whilst casual fans around the world are just as excited, purists and fellow fighters have been less so. The fight, which took almost a year to come to fruition, has been met with plenty of criticism, many claiming it doesn't make sense as Bisping has enough challengers in his own division, not least interim champion Robert Whittaker, without having to add a semi-retired welterweight to the mix. But Bisping, who stands to make the biggest payday of his career, is unfazed. Look at 2 weeks ago, we had Conor McGregor fighting Floyd Mayweather. That's going to be one of the biggest fights of all time, if not the biggest. Do you think somebody who has never had a professional boxing fight in their life fighting what is one of the greatest boxers ever makes sense? No, it didn't make sense, but it made money, and that's what is happening here. The other guys complaining in the division just want a shot at the belt. You've got Luke Rockhold talking he hasn't but since I knocked him out 18 months ago. Yoel Romero and Robert Whittaker I accepted a fight with both of them. The rest are just jealous. George is coming back. He was the champion. When you come out of retirement and you were the champion, that kind of puts you at the top of the pecking order. Okay, he's stepping up a weight class, but still, he does have some clout. That's what I would say, and to the people that don't like it, shut up. Ultimately the bout, which UFC President Dana White had said was definitely not happening at one point, was made because of St-Pierre's unwillingness to face any other opponent. You see, George has fallen into the trap of thinking that he can beat me, the Count responded when asked why the Canadian was so set on facing him. That's what a lot of people do. He's looking at me and thinking that I can beat this guy. He didn't want to face Anderson Silva when Anderson Silva was the middleweight champion, who I beat incidentally. But now he wants to face me when I'm the champion. You know, that speaks to the size of his balls. Ducking Anderson, and now he wants me because he thinks he can beat me. I'm not bothered win or lose. That's what being a fighter is all about. It's about taking challenges and not knowing if you can beat the other person, but having the balls and being brave enough to do it. He thinks he can beat me, and I'm very confident I can beat him. But I couldn't care less. If I thought I couldn't beat him, I'd still try. I'd still give it my best, and that's the difference between me and George. Bisping, hampered by an ongoing knee injury, has not fought since defeating Dan Henderson in Manchester last October, but insists he is back in fighting shape. I'm tip-top, he said. It still bugs me a little bit here and there, but I'm 38 years old, and I've been fighting for a lifetime, but no, I'm good. Nothing bothering me at all. I've been training for a few weeks already. I've started early, so I can afford some time off, so I don't overtrain. I'm just training a bit smarter and that's it, nose to the ground for the next 7.5 weeks. And as for how he sees the fight playing out, the Mancunian is as confident as ever. I'm a bigger guy, I'm a faster guy, I've got better boxing, I've got better kickboxing, I've got more experience.